It's the last two quarter-final matches today, and our reporter Thabiso Sithole is at the Freedom Park this afternoon. And this is, of course, where many lovers of soccer are waiting for that Morocco-Portugal fixture. Thabiso, we're back again, and I wonder if visitors or the guests have started arriving?
Thank you, Bongo, and good afternoon once again to our viewers. Well, Bongo, I think it would be a miss of us as SABC News to come to Freedom Park and actually not speak about where and what this venue in particular means. We're at the Klapo Museum, and behind me, in fact on my right side, this whole room, there's just so many things to talk about in as far as where we come from as South Africa, where we come from as a continent, let alone the fact that we've got an African team contesting the quarterfinal of a World Cup. It's very interesting being here. I'm going to take a walk around with my colleagues and just show you some of the, I'll call them artifacts, but most importantly, what is in this room. On my far right-hand side is the original flag that was signed in 1994 when South Africa, well, became a democracy. But again, I do not have all the history. Mine is mostly on sports, but Dr. Utsile Nswane, who is the head of, I'm going to read this properly because I want to get this right. Head of Heritage and Knowledge Department here at Freedom Park. I actually said you must be called the principal once and foremost. Doc, speak to us. When you brought us up to this room, the importance of this room, we were discussing how we got Morocco playing in the final of a World Cup, and you said you have to see this, how important Africa is and what it means for us, in particular this room we're in.
Yeah, the room we are at, in fact, has got a connection with what sports is all about. We remember when we had our time in 2010, we said Kinako, Africa's World Cup. We were uniting the continent with a common understanding that sports has got a particular role to play as a soft diplomacy. Now, this Klapo Museum where we are, it's a reflection of the story that South Africa carried, how international solidarity helped us, how the African Union helped us. In fact, today, as we are going to watch Morocco play, we also understand the need of sports in uniting people, democracy and human rights. We are also saying it is through sports that the Moroccans will realize that we are behind them, irrespective of the differences that at times, sometimes come to our table on political differences. Much as South Africa, when we hosted our cup, we were criticized. We were told that we are not ready. But here we are today. With this museum, we can reflect about the greatness that sports, heritage, culture, and of course, the liberation struggle has brought us to.
Doc, you mentioned, when we were discussing this earlier, you mentioned how all the pillars that we see here, whether it's democracy, Ubuntu, dignity, human rights, unity, nationhood, pride, reconciliation, social cohesion, back to the source, revival, stability, and peace, how that all brings us to, well, the centerfold on how it all began for South Africa and how the rest of the world and the rest of the continent in particular should embrace all these pillars, in particular of that constitution of ours.
Look, these pillars, we can use them to interpret the necessity for human existence, for human awareness and for consciousness as a continent. You can see today with the sports that we are having at Qatar, we are having the question of dignity, we are having the issue of human rights. We're also talking about nationhood, because sports bring out the nationhood, the pride of a nation. We also see how it reconciles. So we can actually see the extent to which these sports, the panels as they are, we talk about social cohesion and revival. You can read into the events of the World Cup today, how these pillars talk to all of us as we watch the role of sports in bringing people together, but also reminding them of the source. So when we return to the source, we say we are returning to say who are we and how we acknowledge the legends, the heroes and the heroines, how our struggle was not for free, but it's all about African solidarity, international solidarity. So this panel is a call for humanity to come together to realize the significance of a constitution, that everything that we do as South Africa in the world is based on the constitution. It is a supreme law, and all of us abide by it and we salute. So Freedom Park says it's a pride of a national awareness, it's a pride of a national collection, but also it's a place of memorialization of those internationally, continentally, and the world.
Yeah. There's a video that's on the top left-hand side of the picture. Apologies for putting my hand in front of you, sir. Yes. That man, the first democratically elected President of South Africa. He said a line after the speech, that was his inauguration, "God bless Africa." And I looked at that flag that you showed us earlier, 10th of the 5th, 1994. There's the signature of Madiba. Tell us about that flag. When you told me that that was the original flag, the first South African flag.
This is the original flag that was flown during the inauguration. This is the first and the original flag that is actually take us as a nation, bring us together, that all those colors are a reflection of who we are, where we're coming from, but also where we are going to. It's a sacred symbol of a unity. It's a sacred symbol of reconciliation, of overcoming the troubles that we had. Hence the speech of Madiba. It says that never, never again, and all of us can fill up the gaps. So we pride ourselves as Freedom Park that we are hosting very important heritage object that talks to the humanity, to the end of our, to the beginning of a democratic struggle for achieving human rights. So this flag is very, very important for the nation, for us. We salute it.
Yeah, Dr. Sithole, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Bongiwe, yes, I came here to speak all things sports, but I end up getting some, if you can call it that, some medication. I must say, I'm in emotions, if I can call it that. It's wonderful being here, and of course, we are going to bring you as the fans start trickling in. In fact, just behind the camera, some fans are coming. They're taking pictures as well. It is a live museum. It is a heritage site, so we do have people coming in and out throughout the day. But when the build-up to the football begins, I'll definitely bring you down. Well, to bring you that, in particular with those legends that will be joining us to watch that match. Bongiwe.
And of course, that will be interesting to hear as well, Jobe. But thank you so much, because Natis Khabulile here in studio. Thank you for that walk down memory lane. That's Thabiso Sithole there. And he'll be bringing us this encounter between Morocco and Portugal. A lot of people watching this one.